Let me introduce you to your new defense against the dark arts teacher. Me. Gilderoy Lockhart.
The actor who played the vainest professor at Hogwarts was once married to the actress who played the battiest one. They never share a single scene in these films, so almost nobody realizes it actually happened. And that's just the first secret. These are the Harry Potter actors who really quietly dated each other. Type Harry Potter secret couples into any search bar, and you'll drown in nonsense, made-up pairings, shipped fan fantasies, tabloid inventions. So here's our rule for today: only the real ones. Both people adults at the time, and the relationship confirmed by the actors themselves or solid on-the-record reporting. No rumors sold as fact. And there are far fewer than you'd think, which is exactly what makes the real ones so good. We'll bust the most famous fakes too, and there's one line we won't cross today, and we'll tell you exactly why. Start with the one we opened on, because it genuinely sounds fake. The man who plays Gilderoy Lockhart, all teeth and ego, and the woman who plays Professor Trelawney, peering through those enormous glasses, were once one of the most celebrated married couples in all of British film, the golden pair of British theatre and screen. They married at the end of the 80s and were together for years, long before either of them ever set foot in this franchise. And because the films never once put them in a room together, the whole marriage just disappears behind the characters. You watch both of them for 8 films and never connect the dots. They later divorced, and she has spoken about it with remarkable grace, saying, in her own words, that holding on to that kind of hurt is pointless. Both have long since remarried and moved on. But for a while, Lockhart and Trelawney were husband and wife. We told you it was a good one. And it gets messier, because that marriage didn't just quietly fade. The very same actor, the one who played Lockhart, fell into a relationship with another future Hogwarts professor, the actress who would go on to play Bellatrix Lestrange. Their romance began while he was still married. They met making another film together, and it ended that marriage. So follow this love triangle through the casting. Lockhart left Trelawney for Bellatrix in real life. Years before any of them were ever wizards, the two of them stayed together for around 5 more years after the divorce, and the first wife has been strikingly open about all of it, even saying the heartbreak fed one of her most famous later performances, a quietly devastated, betrayed wife on screen, drawn straight from her own life. To their great credit, the two women made their peace long, long ago. It sounds like fan fiction. It's documented history. Now to the one that actually happened during these films, on set, in real time. The actress who plays Ginny Weasley met the actor brought in to play a young Gellert Grindelwald, the dark wizard you only glimpse in quick flashbacks near the very end. He was one of the fresh faces hired for the final chapter, bridging the original kids and the new arrivals. And the two of them didn't just date, they got engaged, both adults. She was 19, he was 21. The reason it slipped past most fans is simple. His role was so brief, so blink and you miss it, that the press never swarmed them the way they'd have swarmed 2 of the main trio. The engagement was real, confirmed by both of them. It didn't ultimately last. They called it off a year or so later, amicably, no drama, and both moved on. But for a while there, Ginny Weasley was genuinely set to marry a young Dark Lord, and you probably never even noticed. This next one hides in the very last scene of the entire series, and once you know it, you cannot unsee it. Remember the epilogue. 19 years later, King's Cross Station, the grown-up characters seeing their own children off to Hogwarts. Draco Malfoy is standing there with his wife, Astoria Greengrass. She barely gets a line. She's there for maybe a few seconds. Here's the secret. The woman playing Astoria, Draco's on-screen wife, was the actor's real-life girlfriend. They'd met on set years earlier. She'd been working behind the scenes as a crew and stunt assistant, not an actress, and they'd quietly been a couple for years. So when the production needed someone for that silent role of Draco's wife, they simply cast his actual partner. Their real relationship ran around 8 years, which means the final image of Draco Malfoy, in the closing minutes of the whole saga, is the man standing beside his genuine real-life love. The series ends on a hidden love story, right there in plain sight. And the warmest one of all, the one that's the opposite of a scandal. The actor who plays Professor Flitwick, and also the goblin Griphook, was married for over 3 decades to his wife. They'd actually met making fantasy films together back in the 80s, married right before this franchise began, and stayed together for a lifetime. And in the final film, during those grueling, hours-long goblin makeup shoots down in the Gringotts vaults, she was right there beside him, also buried in full prosthetics, also playing a goblin. Most fans have absolutely no idea that one of those Gringotts goblins is his real wife, sharing the screen with him under all that latex. She passed away a few years ago, after 33 years of marriage, and he honored her publicly as his most trusted partner in everything. No tabloid drama, no scandal, just a quiet, devoted marriage that literally became part of the wizarding world. That's the one to hold on to. That's the 5 that genuinely happened. If you're enjoying having the real ones separated from the fakes, a quick subscribe genuinely helps. And speaking of fakes, that's exactly where we're going next. Because for every real couple, the internet has invented a dozen. Here are the ones the internet absolutely swears are real, that simply aren't. The biggest one by a mile, Hermione and Draco, the pairing fans call Dramione. Here's the actual truth, and it matters that we're precise about it. The actress who played Hermione has said that as a child, around 10 to 12 years old, she had an innocent little crush on her co-star, simply because he was a bit older and had a skateboard. That is the entire story. It was never returned. He said he saw her like a younger sister, and crucially, they were both kids. As adults, they are extremely close friends. They call each other soulmates in the purely platonic sense. They holiday together. They hype each other up online. But neither has ever claimed an adult romance. And tabloids deliberately blur a child's harmless crush into a love story it never was, because that fantasy sells. The honest version, best friends. Not a couple. Then there's the other obvious one, the 2 leads themselves, Harry and Hermione. For years, the press tried to manufacture a real romance between them, fueled entirely by their on-screen chemistry and a loud group of fans who badly wanted the fictional pairing to come true in real life. But both actors have flatly, repeatedly denied it. They describe each other as siblings, 2 people who survived the strangest childhood imaginable, side by side, and came out the other end closer to family than co-stars. No romance, no secret fling, just a bond the rest of us will never fully understand. And a quieter one, Neville and Luna. The films plant a little spark between the 2 characters right at the end, a moment that isn't even in the books, and fans instantly ran with it. But the entire real-life rumor rests on a single behind-the-scenes photo of the 2 actors sitting together, exhausted, during the long Battle of Hogwarts shoot. That one tired photo is the sole piece of so-called evidence. There's no interview, no statement, nothing else. And their actual dating lives never once crossed. One photograph became a whole romance that never existed. It's the cleanest example there is of how these myths get born. And then there's the bottom of the barrel. The pairings that exist for one reason only. A video needed another name on the list. The actors behind the Weasley twins, for instance, get linked to various castmates in those endless secret couples compilations and AI-generated shorts. Dig for a primary source, a quote, a photo, a single interview, and there is nothing. Nothing at all. These aren't even rumors with a misunderstanding behind them. They're just names shuffled together by listicles copying other listicles until repetition starts to feel like proof. It isn't. If no one can point to where a claim started, it didn't happen. Now, if you go looking, you'll find one particular pairing pushed everywhere as the ultimate secret Harry Potter couple. And we are deliberately leaving it off this list. Here's why, plainly. That relationship reportedly began when one of the 2 people involved was still a minor, 15 or 16 years old. And that is a hard line for us. A video called Actors Who Secretly Dated is a celebration, and we will not celebrate or detail or romanticize a relationship that started when one of them was a child. It doesn't matter how long it lasted into adulthood or how amicably it ended, or that they were both adults later on. The age at the very start is the entire point. So that one stays out, on purpose. If a secret couples video won't draw that line, it isn't being honest with you. And honestly, it shouldn't be making the video at all. There are also a few perfectly real relationships people wrongly file under cast couples. The lead actor dating a stage co-star from a play outside these films. Another of the cast linked to someone he met on set who turned out to be a crew member, not an actor. A couple of the leads happily partnered for years, with partners who simply were never in Harry Potter. All real, all completely fine. Just not two Harry Potter actors dating each other, which is the entire game today. So as real as they are, they don't make the cut. And here's the thing underneath all of it. For 10 years, we watched a group of young actors grow up inside an enclosed, high-pressure world, and we grew up right alongside them. So of course we wanted the magic to spill into real life. Of course we wanted the people to love each other the way the characters did. That's why the fakes spread so easily. But the real stories, the married professors, the on-set engagement, the wife hidden in the final shot, the goblin marriage of 33 years, those are better, precisely because they're true. So there it is. The real ones, the fakes, and the line we won't cross. 5 genuine couples hiding inside a series we thought we knew by heart. The married professors who never shared a scene, the love triangle behind the staff table, Ginny and a young Dark Lord, the secret wife in the final shot, and a goblin marriage for the ages. Which one got you the most? Drop it in the comments and tell me which secret you genuinely had no idea about. If you learned something today, you know what to do. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.